free hair since it's the 4th of July. See, it kind of looks like fireworks. So today's video is super exciting. My little camera stand is really crappy, so I have to prop it up with these little pieces of paper. So I have something I'm really excited to talk to you guys about today, which you already know because it's the title of the thumbnail. But it is my 100 days, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 days of not engaging in any eating disorder behavior. I'm not binging, I'm not purging, I'm not restricting, I'm not over-exercising. This is huge. I have had my eating disorder for 15 years. I've tried recovery for the past 8 years. I've had some times that have worked more than others, but getting to 100 days has never been like this. I've never had, even if I've been able to abstain from some behaviors, I've never felt this free. I've always felt like I was really working so diligently and it was taking so much effort to not binge and purge. And now there is effort involved in recovery, but I feel so much more free, and I feel like this is going to lead me to being fully recovered, where before I thought I'd always have to spend my life working so hard to just be abstaining from behaviors. Okay, so today I wanted to get in with you my top 10 tips I have that seem to be working for me this round of eating disorder recovery. Okay, so my first tip is I made the decision that I wanted to recover, and I really committed to my recovery. Before I had, what's the right word? I didn't want to be purging every day, but I still wanted to be skinny. And so in that way, I couldn't commit to recovery because I was still having a boundary on what I was willing to go past. So when I committed to recovery, I committed to really working the recovery, not restricting in any ways. And one thing I did that really helped me was this mantra that I came up with in the beginning that said, I choose mental clarity over physical fantasy. So physical fantasy being chasing that small size, that fitness that is never attainable, because even when I've made it to a goal, then a new goal is set. So that physical fantasy is never attainable. Also, only 3% of people tend to have that body type, so it's not realistic either. And I don't want to spend the rest of my life killing myself to just be able to get to a size that my body doesn't want to be at. That takes so much work on my part, and it makes me a horrible mom and parent and friend because all I care about is that size. So getting really clear on why you want to recover, even journaling about it. I wrote that I want to be able to show up for my kids. I want to be able to go to parties. I want to be able to take my son out for a Sunday and not be so worried about, do I eat it, do I not eat it? I want to be able to go to a water park without looking around and just feeling like crap about myself. I just want to be a good mom, and I want to be a good friend, and I want to be a good wife, and I can't be any of those things if I'm engaging in my eating disorder. Even if I'm just engaging a little bit in my eating disorder, that's my mind trying to tell me that I'm not fully in it, but it still fully has control over me. So I want to be completely free of it, so really committing to I want freedom was the first thing. So these aren't in any order either. Okay, the second one, really important for me, is never restricting at all. In the past 8 years I've tried to recover, I've still always restricted. There's been certain calories I won't go over, or certain foods that I won't eat, so there's physical restriction, I won't eat over X amount of calories. And then there's mental restriction, and I've talked about this before, but if I want a brownie, but I don't think brownie's okay, and then I eat an apple, that's restriction, physical restriction. Or if I want a brownie and I eat a brownie, and in my head I'm thinking, I don't deserve this brownie, Kim, you're a piece of shit, you shouldn't be eating this brownie, you can't eat tomorrow, or you have to exercise tomorrow, or you have to throw up after you eat the brownie, that's also restriction. So no restriction, and this was so huge for me, and what really helped me with this is Brain Over Binge. I know some people aren't a fan for that book. It was the catalyst for a lot of this recovery for me. The understanding that as long as I'm restricting, I'm activating my animal brain, and I won't for us at a certain point be able to restrict the urge of my animal brain. It's too powerful. It's gonna make me think about food all the time and drive me to eat. So the no restricting has been amazing for my food cravings. Like I don't have that like, oh my gosh, I just want to eat all the time. Like I still want to eat, but then I eat and that craving goes away, instead of like not eating, just always wanting to eat and like planning meals and looking at Pinterest and all that stuff. So never restricting physically or mentally. Okay, this one kind of goes into it. Tip number 3, eating frequently. So before in my eating disorder, even when I was trying to recover, I would try to save my calories till the end of the day, because my husband likes to eat big meals and I do too. I like to eat big meals at the end of the day. So that meant I couldn't eat in the beginning of the day because I only had a certain amount of calories I could eat, and so I would just save them all up to the end of the day. But then by that point I would be so hungry I would overeat, and then I'd be like, fuck, I've overeaten, so I'm just gonna eat more and then I'm gonna compensate for it. So that saving calories has to go. I eat for sure a breakfast every morning, try to eat snacks. I don't always make the snacks, always eat lunch, always eat dinner, and normally a dessert. So no labeling, or no not eating during the morning. I have to eat consistently. And I've heard it before, like peeing. Like you wouldn't, if you had to pee, like let's say that's you're hungry, you wouldn't say, oh my gosh, I have to pee, but I'm only allowed to pee 3 times a day and I want one really big pee, so I'm just gonna save my pee till the end of the day. Like you wouldn't not listen to your body in that way, but we do that with food all the time. We're like, oh, I want to eat, but it's not time to eat yet, so I need to wait to eat. So I've also been trying, this is something I'm still working on, that when I'm hungry, eating the food instead of waiting like, oh, well, it's lunch in an hour, so I'll wait till then. So that's something I'm still currently working on. The next one is no tracking calories or weight. And some people say track calories for like the mini mon method, which I try to roughly follow. I don't count my calories because it's so triggering, but every once in a while in the beginning I would add them up and make sure they were around 3,000, but even that just feels really triggering for me, knowing the number. So yes, but I don't have any food tracking things on my app, or food trackers on my app. I will catch my head wanting to add them up, like I'll be feeling really big and then I'll start to like I already know the numbers, you know, I'm trying to forget them, but it's a hard thing. I've been studying them meticulously for 15 years, and I'll try to add them up in my head. So when I feel myself doing that, I try to distract myself. I'll play the ukulele, or I'll repeat that mantra. I choose mental sanity over freedom fantasy over and over, or I'll call a friend, or I do something so that I can no longer be thinking about those numbers. And if I do something and I'm still thinking about those numbers, then I have to keep finding something to do until I can kind of stop wanting to add the numbers up in my head. So that's number 4. No tracking numbers and no weighing. So weighing is the other thing. I used to weigh myself every morning, like a few times, to make sure I got the reading right. And I've had periods where I've like destroyed scales. I've destroyed so many scales. The thing is, I always go out and buy another scale. This time I haven't weighed myself in over 100 days, which is huge for me. I love to weigh myself. I love to know my worth, because how am I supposed to know how worthy or how good of a person I am, or if I can be in a good mood, if I don't know my gravitational pull, right? It sounds stupid when I say it out loud, but it's like truly an ingrained belief I have. But the longer I don't do it, like I don't even think about weighing myself anymore. In the beginning, it was very hard, but now it's like, it's what I do. I just don't weigh. So no tracking, no weighing. The next one is being honest and letting go of shame. So there's a few in this one. So being honest. Honesty has also helped me tremendously, because before I'm sober too, so I have a lot of friends in sobriety that I feel like I can talk to about my eating disorder. So I have told people about it before, and I've gone to treatment before when I was younger, when I was like 21. Now I'm 30. But I was still not being very honest. I would tell my husband, like, I had a bad day with food today. Like, it's been a little hard. And he didn't know, like, I was binging and purging all day. So I had to sit him down. And it was funny. I sent him a text and was like, I really need to talk to you about something tonight. And when he sat down after I told him about like how bad I had been relapsing and how I was really scared and I needed his support, and we talked about that. After that, he told me that he thought I was going to tell him I was cheating on him. So I need to remember, I need to be like, this is about food. I need to talk to you, so he doesn't get afraid of what that truth could be. And the more I share, the more the shame goes away. So starting this YouTube channel, which I started about a month into this recovery, has been so helpful because every time I talk to you guys about the eating disorder, shame just melts away. And like, it was so scary in the beginning, and it's still a little scary, especially the idea that people I know will watch these videos, but it's more freeing than anything else. So even if it means other people will know about this, like, I want to be free more than anything else. And the more I share, the more shame, the more the shame goes away. That being said, it's up to you who you share it with, and share it with someone who's safe and who you trust. But I do suggest that you share and be honest, because we're only as sick as our secrets, and the more we keep this to ourselves, the sicker we become. Being honest and letting go of shame, and also being involved in the health at every size movement and the body positivity movement. So I'm not on Instagram very much these days, but before I was following a lot of body positive people, and I tried to go on regularly and look at people who had my size of body or bigger, just to get those images in my brain, because we're only shown that like 3% body type, and then the more we see that, the more that, or at least me, the more I see that, the more I think that's the way my body should look, and then I'll do anything I need to get my body to look like that, even if it means killing me. So when I can see beauty in these other bodies, it helps me accept my body more. I'm also reading this book by Body Positive Panda, Body Positive Power. It's really good. So it's just trying to get that new information in my head and deprogramming all that dieting bullshit that we're constantly told. So I have that all as number 6, being honest, letting go of shame, practicing body acceptance. Oh, that's the other one, body acceptance. So before, I was always trying to practice body love. Like, I love myself at any weight and size. And I've realized that love is too big of a step right now. I've come from hating the way my body looks, that right now I'm just trying to cultivate body acceptance. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. My daughter is sleeping, and then we're about to go to a 4th of July event. So I'm trying to get this done before she wakes up. But yeah, so I've been really just trying to work on body acceptance. And I'm also trying to work on body neutrality. So when I look in the mirror, instead of trying to like look and be like, I'm hot shit, I just want to be like, there's my body, this is how it is today. It might look good one day, awesome. It might not look so good one day, that's okay. Trying to have body neutrality instead of like always like finding myself so hot, because I think that's my eating disorder, is just wanting to have my body just be such an ideal shape. Okay, moving on. Number 7. It really helps me to recognize how my eating disorder is trying to help me. Like, to look back in the past and say, I was in a lot of pain and I had no control, and so the eating disorder helps take some of that pain away and give me control. So that just really helps me. And even today when I feel really fat, for me to be able to say, for me, instead of just spinning out with like, I'm feeling so fat, to be able to say, but why? And then to recognize, oh yeah, you have this training going on, or you're with your family, or there's some other thing that's making you uncomfortable. And since you are so programmed to run from discomfort to your eating disorder, that's what's happening. So instead of just sitting with the discomfort, you run over here to the comfort of your eating disorder. And it's like a meditation. I say this all the time. If I just focus on my weight or how much I don't like the way my body looks, that's giving my mind one thing to focus on, which is really comforting, instead of being in this pain or this uncomfortableness or this boredom or whatever this is that I'm trying to avoid. So when I can recognize that, and it helps me stop the spinning, and although I might still feel fat, it helps me realize that it's coming from this other stuff. So I can like prepare for my training, I can like work on being with my family even though I'm uncomfortable, I can take some deep breaths. That's really helpful for me. I think my family just came home. My son and my husband. Let's see. They're supposed to be on a bike ride. One of what else is super cool, I meant to say this, but so I have been binge and purge free for 100 days, and it's the 4th of July, which is celebration of freedom here in America. And so it's just like, it's a beautiful That's beautifully that that's connected, that I'm moving towards freedom from my eating disorder, and today we're celebrating freedom. And we're going to this party, and I made marshmallow fruit like kebabs. Really cute of me, like a Pinterest goddess. Just kidding. Normally they fail, but today I was successful. Okay, I think my family left again. So where was I? 7 was recognizing how the eating disorder is helping me and to help myself stop spinning out of control with ed thoughts, which eventually lead to behaviors. So these past 100 days I haven't had any behaviors, but I have been having some of the thoughts. So that's what a lot of these tips are about, is about stopping the behaviors and then what do you do with the emotions. Okay, number 8 is listening to recovery stuff, because like I had mentioned, I have 15 years and a whole lifetime of diet and belief systems that think that I'm only worthy if I'm a certain size, and that doesn't go away just because I've decided to recover. And so I still have all that information in here, and so instead of just trying to get rid of it, I need to be bringing in new stuff, new truths. And so listening to people who are going through recovery, listening to people who are recovered, who are like those lit lamps for us, helping us guide our way to recovery, is really helpful for me. If you're interested in who I listen to on YouTube, I made a video. My last video was about that. I think it was my top 11 YouTubers for eating disorder recovery. So check that out. Okay, we are almost done, you guys. The last one is remembering that I want to recover. Remembering that I'm committed to recovery. Like the other night I had a fight with my husband, and this doesn't happen very often. This is probably the only time in 100 days that I like really felt this. But I was like, I want to purge because you're mad at me. Like, that will get you back. Like, so stupid. But I was able to be like, no, I'm committed to recovery. But there's things like that will come up. Like going to a pool party, maybe I want to lose a little bit of weight for it. It'll just like little, like tiny thoughts that start to come in, and I have to be like, to recognize it, be aware of it, and remind myself I choose recovery. And remember that I'm doing recovery for me. And so if I cheat my recovery, I'm really only cheating me, right? Like when I was younger, I used to cheat at school. This is like grade 6. And now I look back and it's so ridiculous because I was the one who was cheating. Like I was the one who didn't learn that stuff. And it took just as much work for me to cheat as it would have just to learn the material. So it's kind of that same thing in recovery. It's like if I want to recover and I'm doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing, I'm the one who's going to be paying for it in the end. And I don't want that because I want to recover. So that can be helpful for me in remembering, always coming back to my intention of I want to recover. Life will happen. I will get triggered. I'll go over here. I remember I want to recover. And then the last one is remembering that even doing recovery perfectly is my eating disorder. So my therapist will say that like here is perfect and here is like your eating disorder. So before when I was saying like I'll just drift a little bit over here and then I have to remember like I want to recover and come back here. I'll drift and then I come back. And I don't want to be in my eating disorder, but I also don't want to be perfect because perfect, the idea of perfectionism is an eating disorder thought. I just want to be. I just want to live my life. I don't want to be the static perfect thing because that's unrealistic. Perfection is a prison and an illusion. But I want to learn how to be in the middle and just be like a normal person. Eat when I'm hungry, not eat when I'm not hungry. Eat if it's a birthday party. Eat if it sounds good to like eating. Oh, that was another tip that I didn't say. Where did it go? Oh yeah, so in tip 2, never restricting. Sorry, this is all over the place. In tip 2 for never restricting, I wanted to talk about binging. So if I restrict, I'm going to say it again. If I restrict mentally, like I just won't allow, or I'm going to eat it, but I don't really want to be eating, I'm going to plan to compensate it, or not eating it at all. If I restrict in any way, I will end up binging. So that also helps me when I want to restrict. It's like this will lead to a binge. However, if this is the beautiful thing, if I don't restrict, I do not binge. I'm going to say that again. If I do not restrict, I do not binge. Does this mean I don't overeat? No, I still overeat, but because there were no restrictions, it doesn't make it a binge, right? So, like, let's say I'm only allowed X amount of calories or one plate of food, and then I go over it, then I'm really aware, like, oh my gosh, I'm eating more than I'm supposed to, but I'm still hungry, but I shouldn't be eating it. Oh my gosh, but I'm hungry, but I shouldn't be eating it. And then it turns into this binge, like this guilt, like I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I just can't stop stuffing the food in. That's a binge. Instead, now it's like I've eaten over X amount of calories, which I don't know because I'm not restricting, or I've eaten this plate. My son's yelling at me. I've eaten this plate and I want more food. Because I'm not restricting, I just eat more food and I enjoy it because I'm like still hungry, so I'm gonna have another brownie. Brownies have been my favorite, hence I keep referencing them, but then I eat it, and if I'm still hungry, I eat more. And it's not like you can't have that, and so I'm like, ugh. It's just like, oh, I'm still hungry. So anyways, 100 days, you guys, your support means so much to me. You guys have been leaving me the nicest comments that like warms my heart so damn much. So thank you. I think this channel is one thing that has been helping me so much, having a place where I can be totally honest and hopefully helping other people. So if you're in the depths of eating disorder, hell, there is so much hope. I was there for 8 years trying to recover and not, and now it's starting to feel like a distant memory. Okay, my son is crying because he can't have any more marshmallows because we're about to go to a party, so I should attend to him. Thank you for watching.